Welcome everyone to the November meeting here in Warialda today. Call for apologies. So I've got an apology from Councillor Dixon and Councillor Wilmot. Could I move a second? Councillor Shannon and Councillor Crispin. Thank you. Could I have confirmation of the minutes for the ordinary meeting that was held on the 30th of October? So Councillor Collins and Councillor Crump. Thank you. Those in favour say aye. Thank you. I have calls for conflicts. The calls for declarations of interest, gifts received and conflicts of interest. Is there any? No? Yeah. No. Now you'll see my mayoral minutes on page 4. Everyone would have read that. I'm not going to read it out. You happy if I don't read it out? Yeah. I just want to say something about Leah and I spoke at the Country Mayors in Parliament last week when we went down about our on-the-job training and staff members, cadets, apprentices and staff working their way up. We got a lot of positive feedback out of that. And when Leah and I were at the conference this week, we had many people coming up that heard that and have asked for it to be shared around. I'd like to say a big thank you to Clarissa Barwick, because she put that presentation together and did an amazing job. And then Leah and I presented it after she put it together. And yeah, there was many councils that came through that would like to talk to us about it, because they've got lots of job vacancies and look at what we're doing where we don't have any, and they look at what we're doing and would like to sort of take on board and try and copy what we're doing. So thanks to Clarissa for putting that together, because it was really, really good. She put a lot of time into it. Okay, so my recommendation is just that this report be received. Can I just have those in favour say aye? Yeah. Okay, we move on to item 6.1, which is the Executive Services Report on page 6. And we have the General Manager, Leah Daly, to answer any questions on this. Questions? Very good. Okay. Could I have a mover and a seconder for this report? And the officer's recommendation is just that this report be received. Councillor Coleman and Councillor Crump. Those in favour say aye. Thank you. We move on to item 6.2 on page 12. And that is Corporate and Community Services Report. And we have the Director of Corporate and Community Services, Helen Thomas, to talk about this and answer any questions that anyone might have.
1.2. As you can see, it's all been another busy month for both tourism, urban services and our training. I do know that there's been another big uptake in our driver training stuff. We've almost got our second driver training instructor through. He should be finished by Christmas time. So in the new year, that will give us added capacity to actually ramp that up even more for the school, the learners, driver's licenses and the truck licenses. So that's exciting.
And in response to the uptake in
ours.
Yeah,
it gets busy every year around that time. The funding bodies are getting tighter and tighter though on putting through funded places.
Yeah.
But realistically, it's about $2,000 per work. It's pretty cheap considering it's an intensive 2-day thing and you come out with your license.
And you don't have to travel away to do it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You've got to come to Warrialda and it's all there.
And do they still have to travel to England to do the final
Yes.
examination?
You've got to be in an area where there's roundabouts and stuff like
Right.
that.
Okay. Yeah.
That's why it's got to be in Barrel.
So they have people like Best Employment who would fund people to do this.
There's a separate funding body. It's Smart and Skilled. They do
But they'll do it for people who want to get there.
Yep. So we can take people from Best Employment that will pay for it. But we actually have other funding where we do like you submit your application and we push it through to see if you get funded or not.
Do they take people from other shines? They don't have to be from here.
No, absolutely not.
Clarissa asked me to send a thing out and I sent it out to about 300 farmers, I suppose, and a few more people are ringing up.
No, absolutely.
Good deal.
We're not fussy on where the people come from.
It's actually a point of difference that you should be proud of, that our council is training truck drivers from the region.
I can take any other questions.
Any more
Got from
questions?
any other area.
Helen? No more questions? Okay. The officer's recommendation is that the report be received. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Councillor Coleman and Councillor Sherman. Those in favour say aye. Thank you. So we move on to item 6.3, technical services report, and it's on page 161 with attachments and page 52 for those without attachment. And any questions, please speak to Alex Eddy, the Director of Engineering.
An area part of that. Part of this section.
That's been managed by Carmen Southwell, falls within Helen's department.
But ask
But I can attempt to answer a question if you've got one.
I just, when it looks to be completed, because I've had a lot of people asking about it.
I have to take that one on notice.
I don't know for sure when the grass that's been pulled up, it's got to have another layer of something put down so that if in an emergency we've got to pull that pontoon out, that area has to be stable enough to get in and out with the pontoon. But I will find out, let you know.
We'll send you an email to all the council.
How's that truck wash going?
Not too badly. With one lane in operation, so we still had 126 trucks run through. At various times throughout the month, we have seen as many as 3 trucks lined up to use the facility, which I think really just justifies if people are prepared to wait with an average wash down of an hour, and if it's a B double or a road train, that can extend into 3 hours. If we've got people that are willing to wait that long to wash out their trucks, it speaks volumes about how good the facility is and the justification for its existence.
Yeah.
There's a couple of things that didn't make their way into the report, and that simply just these were prepared in advance, and then we've got 2 weeks, and a lot can happen in 2 weeks before they come to the council. 2 things I'd like to point out. One is the developments with the Warrior water supply. This week we drilled a test bore at the truck wash site, which was yielding about 11 to 12 litres per second. If that's proven to be PFAS free, we took some samples, it's been tested. We've then got to do a 72-hour test and conduct some further testing for things like heavy metals and other contaminants. If we've got a second bore that pumps 11 to 12 litres a second, then we are well and truly into no water restrictions. We'll be able to eliminate those fairly easily. We also brought the Crane Street bore back online. I may have spoken about it in a previous meeting, but we had received a series of negative tests for that on a monthly basis. And we thought it may have been just because it was stagnant. We don't really know how the plume is flowing in the aquifer. So we pumped a couple of megalitres out of that bore and conducted an additional test. That test came back free of PFAS, so that bore has temporarily been brought back online. That doesn't put us in a position where we can take away water restrictions. We need to look at how things balance over a few months, and we also want to test regularly, brought the frequency from monthly back to weekly, in case by bringing that bore back online, we are changing where PFAS is in the plume and it does start to bring in a small amount of contamination. If that happens, it'd have to come back off again, and we don't want to have a sort of a yo-yoing water restrictions with Warrialda to say, no, you can water now you can't, 3 weeks later, flipping again. Any questions on that before I move on to the second thing that didn't make its way into the report?
Are you still getting any concerns from the community directly to you about the PFAS issue?
Not so much about PFAS. We are about the water restrictions,
Yeah.
And that centres around the timing, being 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. People are having issues with it being dark. We have to have it around that time to smooth the peaks in demand. If we said we put the time at 5 o'clock, that's when everybody's getting home, toilets start flushing, dishwashers are turned on, people are having showers. If we are also watering gardens, and because it's only happening every second day, people are only doing it every second day, whether they're odd or even numbered houses, the inclination generally is to run sprinklers flat out for that 2-hour period. So the response that we've given to people who have had issues with the timing is that handheld sprinkling is still permitted at any time throughout the day. We're encouraging it to take place between 8 p.m. and 10 a.m. But if you want to stand outside with a sprinkler for a few hours, that is handheld, go your hardest. But that's the only negative stuff that's come back, which has been quite good.
Yeah.
I have one question back about the truck wash.
Yes.
So there was $10,000 odd revenue for the month and 600,000 kilolitres used.
Yes.
That worked out about 17 cents a kilolitre. What's the commercial rate for what do we charge in
I think it's $1.80 a kilolitre. But the running expenses would have been incorporated into.
Oh yeah, of course. I'm just trying to work out the difference.
Generally speaking, over time, the truck wash has been since commissioning has been a break even or a very modest profit.
Yeah. But essentially, you're selling water for $17, so you're value adding.
Yeah, I guess so. And there's also the potential with the test bore that we have at the truck wash. That location was chosen quite deliberately. If it proves to be of a suitable standard for the reticulation system for Warrialda, we'll be able to pump raw water straight to the truck wash. At present, it's treated water, so it's going into our reservoirs, then flowing all the way back out. If we can pump raw water straight into it, we save a lot of money in treatment costs and pumping costs.
Yeah.
The only other thing I wanted to point out, which happened after this report was written, is that the County Boundary Road is almost at the point that we would call practical completion. We have bitumen down on its entire length, all the roadworks complete. There'll be a little bit of tidy up work that will happen between now and Christmas. And the reason I bring that one up particularly is that it is the most expensive project the council has ever undertaken. It's forecast to be ever so slightly over the original budget. And when I say ever so slightly, we're talking perhaps $50,000 to $100,000 in 12 million. We've had a crew of as few as 3 blokes at times on that site for 3 years, and it's been the same crew. And we will in the new year have some sort of formal celebration to recognise their efforts with that project. But It really is something that's worthy of celebration, and it's a pat on the back to Neil Daly and his crew to deliver a very good road with a very large budget, more or less smack bang on budget.
Congratulations to them.
Yes.
Yeah, we're very lucky to have them up especially when we go away and we talk to other councils as we have, and I think we're very lucky.
And the Mayor raised it earlier with the service awards. We've got, we saw a slew of people that have got 15, 20, 30, 50 years of service to the council. They are obviously at least content here, but when we have events like we did last night, when we really need all hands on deck, we never have any problem getting all hands on deck. People feel a sense of responsibility or duty, whether it's to their community or to the council. It's a call around, can you get out of bed if it's at 10 o'clock? We never have any issue, whether it's a traffic accident or a storm like last night. All hands are on deck. We had guys working right into dark last night, having their 10 hours break, and then back at 6 o'clock this morning. And I think that that's something that as a council, we should be really proud of.
Very lucky.
Mayor, I've just got an update on the pontoon, Scott. The last lot of turf is being laid tomorrow. The access road still to be completed and the vehicle barriers are to be installed. It should be done by end of December and open to the public.
For Australia Day celebrations. Are they going to put something down there that this has been raised a few times, that people can't get down there and do wheelies and wreck the turf?
That's the barriers. I think that will stop cars from being able to get down there.
Yep.
I'll double check though.
Okay. The other thing I might bring up too about the pontoon, wouldn't know whether it's kids or adults, but someone has graffitied the top of the table, which is quite disappointing because I didn't think we had any graffiti at all in our Shire, but
The two tables.
the two tables have got pictures drawn all over them.
That's awesome.
Yeah, which is a bit disappointing when the amount of money that it's cost to give these things. So if anyone's out in public, they might emphasise how we put money up for these and we don't like them destroyed. And especially in our Shire, we never see graffiti, and to see something like this is quite disappointing. Okay, thank you for that report. Yep, the officer's recommendation is that report be received. Could I have a mover and a seconder? We have Councillor Bishton and Councillor Crispin, and those in favour say aye. Thank you. Okay, we move on to item 6.4, business and strategy report, page 169, and for those with attachments, and page 60 for those without attachments. Any questions? It'll be Justin who will answer these.
I've got a few things that aren't in the report, but first thing, we got the tonnage change, John, for the waste collection. So everything that we're talking about, and it's got that fixed. But you might have seen the Facebook post, the LEP changes you heard me say about 15,000 times in the community meeting, they're now in effect. What they in particular are, well, there was a link on the Facebook site, but it'll be in the attachments at the next report as well. So that's good. It makes things a little easier. The rules are a bit relaxed around cardboards and things and those sort of things. I said that the local housing strategy would have went up an exhibition probably the week after last council meeting. That hasn't happened yet because we've had conflicting reports about how to exhibit and which state government departments it needs to go to, but that should hopefully come up soon. And it'll be exhibited a bit longer because there's a period, I think it's from the 21st of December or something like that, where we're not actually allowed to exhibit any DAs and our reports as well. So it will probably go through to late January.
When's it going to go up?
Hopefully hopefully either today, tomorrow. We finally got confirmation from the Department of Planning and Housing who the contacts are, because normally you do it on the portal and it just sends it to them. We don't have direct contacts and there's no way to do it on the portal for the local housing strategies.
Comment on that?
Yeah, yep, the same way you can with the DA, they can write in, put a written submission in. The pool is closed today, just as a FYI. There was that much, the worry article, that is too much debris and damage from the storm, so it's shut, and a Facebook post went up about that this morning. And I got a couple of things that I'll mention in confidential.
Any other questions?
How often do we get requests for private cemeteries?
Not very often. First one I've seen.
Yeah, oh, there used to be a few out west, but never heard of it.
But I think there's about 15 cemeteries in total in our Shire, something like that, including ours and the private.
Had a few in, my last few terms, there's been a couple.
We went to a cemetery roadshow a couple of weeks ago, and yeah, it's pretty rare everywhere.
Yeah.
I'm actually surprised to hear that you're not allowed to, a lot of councils don't let people reserve plots, actually, because so we're an exception to that rule.
You get put where you roll up.
Yeah, they pretty much just allocate what's next available. No.
Nice.
I'm glad we can
Yeah.
provide more.
How's the new admin building?
I think, what was it looking like now?
February.
February. That was they were a little bit behind in their schedule with the plasters, and they had a crew that were ready to come, like a group of 40, but because Jay Brennan were a little bit behind, they ended up getting reallocated to another job. So that, and we're still waiting on a date for the power as well.
I think the biggest hold up will be the power. I think everything will be ready except waiting on essential energy for power.
Why are we waiting on central energy? I mean,
It's on with the power.
just, it seems crazy if local government can't get something through, how can anyone else expect to do anything? Yeah, we can't pull any favours.
That's what you want to expand on.
Yeah, I think it came down to the subdivision certificate. It's been signed off, but it takes a while for it to actually go through, and they needed evidence that it was lodged, which we have to get a letter from. I can't tell you who it was, but I was on that one. We had to get that letter, which they've accepted, but now that they've accepted it, they've still got an allocated date. We'd like to. I wish we could do something.
I did ask, could we bring them up? Could we write a letter to see if we could get any favours in their answer as well?
Frustrating.
It's very frustrating. And I did ask that.
And of course, it's extended because of the time of year it is. People are shutting down pretty much mid-December and coming back February.
We were talking about an opening Anzac Day, or maybe.
Yeah, we thought around that time would be good. Anzac Day might be a stretch. Yeah.
Orange Festival.
It'll be open before our official opening.
Yeah.
So when we talk about that, it's an official opening, and it's when we can get
GG.
Governor General. We have written to her, Sarah's written to her, so
Apparently she's tied up Anzac Day.
so when we can get some people to come and open it for us, but we will be in before the official opening. But it'd be nice to have people to open it for us. But it looks good. You saw the photos I sent you. It looks really, really good. Maybe we might be able to get a tour for all the councillors before the next meeting or after the next meeting or something, so that the councillors that haven't seen it could have a look.
So different with walls. We've walked through it that many times.
Yeah.
It's different again.
Can I write something about that in confidential?
And the other thing that was in here is the new building at the living classroom. It is pretty smick. Looks great. Really. anyone that wants to have a look at that, we can arrange those that haven't had a look. Or we'll be up there for our next meeting anyway. And we're pretty lucky to have a state-of-the-art facility, and they're going to do a workshop. Anyone that's, you would have all got those emails, anyone that's interested in going to the workshop to see how we can
Is that before, like the day before?
the 10th of December. Yeah, utilise that's before our Christmas.
I was betting man, Justin, I think you're going to get a lot of requests for replacement bin. I'm coming down with stuff, bin that are there.
Yeah, they are, pretty quickly generally. But, I should arrange that for the last Saturday, so hopefully get the request in quickly before we have a new person start Monday.
Was it that's?
Yeah.
Any more questions for Justin?
Got a spraying question, but I don't know if it's us or LOS, but you might be able to help. You might have noticed when you come into Warrior Rail yesterday, or today, as you drive in on the right, there's a vacant block there and someone's been spraying under a tree and it's drifted into the private residence on the far side and killed the entire hedge.
Oh.
I don't know if it's LLS or us, but if you haven't received any complaints, maybe they've done it themselves, but it's quite obvious when you drive in, the whole hedge has died from overspray.
Yeah. Very cool. Follow that up. I'm not sure. Pretty sure I got.
I'm awake when I'm driving, I'm not asleep.
Any more questions for Justin? The officer's recommendation is that the report be received. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Councillor Sherman and Councillor Bishop. Those in favour say aye. Now it's 6.5, Council's investment report, page 195 for those with attachments and page 83 for those that don't have the attachments. And any questions? Talk to the finance.
It's your standard monthly report. I can take any questions if anyone's got any.
I do have a question, Mark. The waste fund of 4,064,000. What's that for?
That's all the money we've collected through our waste fund that has to be restricted and can only be used for waste purposes.
They collected it through the garbage service.
The tips, the garbage services, everything, yep.
So in case you need to go make a new tip or something. It's a lot. I just thought it's cheap.
So water, sewer and waste, any money collected on behalf of those funds must remain in those funds and only be spent on those services.
The reserves in waste are primarily held there, not so much for creating a new landfill, but rehabilitating one that's at the end of its life.
Which could be expensive.
It's very expensive.
It's ridiculously expensive. We're just very lucky here that we don't generate a lot of waste for the space we've got to have our tips work in the cities. That's a major concern.
Yeah. Just never noticed it before, but
Yeah.
Questions for Helen? Okay, the officer's recommendation is that the October 2025 monthly investment and rates collection report be received. Those in favour. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Councillor Crispin and Councillor Bishton. Those in favour say aye. We move on to item 6.6, Model Code of Conduct Complaint Statistics, page 198 for those with attachments and page 86 for those without.
Yeah.
Questions on this?
All matters funds and pick up the line if they will get instead of basically it like doesn't matter how you turn it.
you clean it.
Well, I mean, it's good that there's nothing on there.
Tickets. You suggesting it's a ticket?
No, like it's
Yes.
a complaint.
Any questions for this? The officer's recommendation is that the report be noted. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Councillor Collins and Councillor Coleman, those in favour say aye. We move on to item 6.7, which is the Warrialda Historical Society Cemetery Project Proposal Letter. Any questions? You want to talk about this?
This came through to me and I thought that I would put it to council for their consideration and also to outline the history of what's happened in the past.
It's a great project. I don't know if any of you have been out there, but it's like cleaned up cemeteries and done that. Things like that.
Questions?
They are a group that help themselves in that they've contributed their own funds and asked council for additional funds to achieve what they've achieved. And this is the final stage of their plan.
Met them at the Orange Steps, there was a couple to them, they were quite active in the historical.
Yes, yeah. It's a good group. Oh, Councillor Collins is part of the.
And Councillor Sherman, yeah,
Sorry.
it's a, they're a committed group. They live and breathe it and they've done a lot of voluntary hours. There'd be hundreds of hours they've done down at cemetery.
They asked me to join.
And it's nice to know that people still have pride in those sorts of things, and comes back to again the thing about small communities and people taking pride because it doesn't happen in the cities.
If you ever want a goosebump moment, you go out around Anzac Day or Remembrance Day, and when the Australian flags are on the servicemen's graves, it's quite.
Yeah, so they do it with the high school. There's a project for high school and they'll put flags.
Very good.
Okay, the officer's recommendation is that council approve a contribution of $3,200 to the Warrialda Historical Society to support the completion of the Warrialda General Cemetery plaque project, ensuring the installation of plaques on permanent plinths as part of council's ongoing commitment to heritage preservation. Could I have a mover and a seconder? Councillor Collins and Councillor Crispin, those in favour say aye. Move on to item 6.8, which is the September quarterly review, page 214 for those with attachments and page 89 for those without attachments. You right?
Help?
Talk me through it.
So this is the standard September quarterly review report. You will notice though that the RLG have just implemented a brand new spreadsheet that has to be used as the pro forma for quarterly review, and this then has to be submitted by 30th of November to the OLG by council at the end of each quarter. So I can answer any questions that you've got. There aren't any significant changes to the budget that aren't offset by other budget changes. As noted in the report, it is County Boundary Road and Bucky Road, the grant funding and the material budgets that are offset by each other were the biggest material changes. And in Water Fund, the Gravesend Water Project that has been put back to next financial year due to the grant funding being available. Other than that, we are pretty ahead as expected.
Yeah.
I'll print it out from the Excel spreadsheet. That's in mine.
It's just,
Yeah.
this one here. Oh, do you want
Yes.
some?
No, it's like sugar.
Want some sugar or something? No. You are? Thank you.
It's the white sugar.
So with the Gravesend water, does that mean nothing takes place until July next year?
I'm not sure if they're doing any works, are they, Alex?
So we're still working through the Safer, Stronger Water program, which was a 4-stage process, and the last of the stages was a detailed design and preparation of tender documentation. there's currently a lot of back and forth between us and Department of Climate Change, Energy, Water, and something else. I'm not sure what the other W is on the end of that. About what the best solution is for Gravesend. Until we all agree what the best solution is, we can't proceed with the detailed design phase. So it's certainly not sitting dormant. There's a lot happening, but it's basically administrative at present.
I don't think we haven't heard of any negative water results down there, have we?
No.
Excellent.
Not recently.
The officer's recommendation that the September quarter budget review statement be noted. Further, that the September quarter budget adjustments be approved. So a mover and a seconder, please. Councillor Crump and Councillor Coleman. Those in favour say aye. Thank you. Item 6.9, McDougall Palau Road land swap. And we have the Director of Engineering Services to talk about this.
First of all, I apologise. It's the McDougall and not the McDougall Palau Road land swap.
Sorry.
No, sorry, you read it correctly. It was correctly entered into the business paper. This sort of situation probably happens 1,000 times across the Shire, where we've got roads that don't follow a road reserve, but there is a road reserve somewhere near it where it was initially intended to go. They often don't overlap for a number of reasons. Geography is usually the answer. Bad fencing by farmers over the course of 100 years is another answer. In most cases, we just treat it as a give and take, and it's an expensive and fruitless exercise to change the location of road reserves to actually be on top of the formed road, simply because nobody's losing out on any land in most cases, because they're able to farm the road reserve where our road would usually be. In this case, it's a little bit different. There is a bridge involved, and I understand the owners of the impacted land have some future plans with the land where this little bit of an uncertainty could have some implications on its viability for sale or succession planning. This actually started in 2001, and I'm not sure why it has been sitting around for as long as it has. Essentially, this is just the procedure to, it's quite a lengthy resolution, to acquire some land by compulsory acquisition, and at the end of that process, we would vest the closed road reserve back with the landholder to compensate for the land that we've compulsorily acquired. And while the term compulsory acquisition has a tone about it that suggests we're doing this without somebody's, against somebody's will, that's not the case in this instance. It's just the mechanism to do it legally.
So there's no contention.
None whatsoever.
Actually,
Anything else for us?
just a second further point on page 93, the second last one. Now we've made history and we have a female general manager. Need to change it. So it's her.
I'll do that now.
Okay, the officer's recommendation is that council proceed with the compulsory acquisition of lots 1 and 2 in DP 1141054 as shown on attachment AT1 for the purpose of public road in accordance with section 177 of the Roads Act 1993 and in accordance with the Land Acquisition Act 1991. Further, that council make an application to the Minister and Governor for approval to acquire lots 1 and 2 in DP 1141054 for compulsory process under section 177 of the Roads Act 1993 for the purpose of public road in accordance with the requirements of the Land Acquisition Act 1991. Further, that council does not acquire mineral rights over the land to be acquired. Further, that the approval of the governor to lots 1 and 2 in DP 114154 is received, that council proceed with the closures of lots 3 and 4 in DP 114054 in accordance with section 38D of the Roads Act 1993. Further, that for the purpose of section 30 of the Land Acquisition Act 1991, section 44 of the Roads Act 1993, council agrees that compensation for the land being acquired will be the land within the former closed road, being lots 3 and 4 in DP 1141054 as agreed with BR and JA McDougall. Further, that council delegate to the general manager or her delegate the power to do anything further as necessary to give effect to the compulsory acquisition and the road closure, including obtaining any necessary approvals and publishing any necessary notices in the Gazette. Further, that the authority be granted to the general manager to affix the common seal of the council to any documentation required to give effect to this resolution.
Like a drink.
Matt, have a move for a second there after
This
all
like
that, please.
24 years.
I sincerely hope not.
Councillor Collins and Councillor Crump, those in favour say aye. Thank you. Okay, we move on to item 6.10, draft resolution for Warrior Town Square.
Well,
We have
Apologise if the recommendation for this one is almost identical and just as long as the previous item. This is to acquire the access corridor from Stephen Street to our CBD park. We are able, under the Roads Act, even though it's not necessarily a road, more so a footpath, use the mechanisms of compulsory acquisition to acquire this land. We have not had agreement on the valuations for the land, but our valuations have come in at $8,500. I think even if the figure was to extend significantly beyond that, if it were to double, it's still a fair price to pay for what's basically the icing on the cake for that park. And I think with that corridor, we'll see quite an increased usage, and I know the general manager is very, very keen to see this acquisition take place. Happy to take any questions, but that's basically the guts of it.
Is it a friendly acquisition?
This is, no, it's not. This, however, is from the acquisition is from Telstra and from Department of Justice. So we're not dealing with compulsory acquiring private.
Department of Justice has always been okay with it. Is it still the case?
Yeah.
It's just Telstra. I'll be
Yes.
fine. That building that no one knew existed till we built the park.
Is that go past, what's that building that it goes very close to? Is that like, is it like, is it got to be 3 metres or something?
So you're talking about the building on the left-hand side? Yes, it's
Yeah.
the courthouse.
It's still, there's a lot of space.
Okay.
Okay. The officer's recommendation that council proceed with the compulsory acquisition of part of Lot 8, Section 52 DP 759052 and part of Lot 2 DP 776794 as shown at attachment A1 for the purpose of road in accordance with Section 177 of the Roads Act 1993 and in accordance with the Land Acquisition Act 1991. Further, that council make an application to the Minister and the Governor for approval to acquire part of Lot 8, Section 52 DP 759052 and part of Lot 2 DP 776794 as shown at attachment AT1 by compulsory purpose, a process under Section 177 of the Roads Act 1993 for the purpose of road in accordance with the requirements of the Land Acquisition Act 1991. Further, that council does not acquire the mineral rights over the land to be acquired. Further, that for the purposes of Section 30 of the Land Acquisition Act 1991, the council agrees to the land being acquired for compensation set at the market value of the land as agreed by the General Manager and Property and Development New South Wales and Telstra for part of Lot 8, Section 52 DP 759052 and part of Lot 2 DP 776794 respectively. Further, that council delegate to the General Manager or her delegate power to do anything further as necessary to give effect to the compulsory acquisition, including obtaining any necessary approvals and publishing any necessary notices in the Gazette. Further, that the authority be granted to the General Manager to affix the common seal of the council to any documentation required to give effect to this resolution. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Councillor Crispin and Councillor Furman. Those in favour say aye. Okay. Let's have councillors' reports.
Just before that, sorry, no, sorry. Before you move on to council reports, Helen whispered to me that the actual annual report that was an attachment to the executive services report isn't mentioned as an item in the front of it. But are you all aware that when you moved that the annual report was part of that? Just checking. Thank you.
I just have one comment about that.
Yes.
Just, I got a little bit confused while reading it, just because some of the photos are like under headings that have no reference. Sort of like the photos have no reference to like the heading necessarily.
He did say that it is every bit a draft and we had to slip it into the council meeting. So to get it, yeah, I will mention the photos.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what she was referring to, but that could be it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And any number of questions on that? Okay, we'll move on to item 7, which is councillors' report, and we'll go around the room, starting with Councillor Coleman.
They all know about it, just cleaning up in there's lots of this. The roads not blocked.
Okay.
But it's still people.
Councillor Shannon.
Just a question about the airstrip, and it has quite possibly been raised in previous councils about the lighting and whether they try to put lighting at the airstrip.
The cost of it was investigated many moons ago.
Yeah,
Perhaps
that would be the case.
7 or 8 years, and it was deemed to be cost prohibitive.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the old-fashioned way of cars being inside of the airstrip and turning the headlights on is frowned upon by CASA. Can't imagine why. But if it's something that the council would like to entertain, we can certainly seek some revised pricing and put it to the council.
And I explained that. I said I would imagine that this is something that they've looked at before, but given the usage of it,
Yeah, I mean,
It would
that's
be
basically the kicker.
not cost effective,
No.
given the.
I remember.
Sorry.
Amount of night flights.
Yeah, like, I mean, it's predominantly be emergency
Yeah,
services that would be using it. And, you know, they have the other options of Maureen and Burrell.
I think the flip side of, saying that it's infrequent and perhaps not as important. When it is needed, it's for an important cause. So look, I'm happy to chase some pricing up. I can report back to the next council meeting what that's likely to be.
Sure. I do remember in like one of the previous terms, it was brought up, and I know the upgrade was this end because we couldn't afford to have two. Was that right? Wasn't it? We couldn't afford to have two airstrips just sitting there, so we did spend a lot of money upgrading it from memory, the Warriata airstrip.
And interestingly, just for your information, neither of our airstrips, it's in-full airstrips.
Use them,
Sorry?
No,
likely to use them.
not for commercial. It would be
Yeah, pretty well.
And most of the times it's the chopper now. I think the plane only comes if the choppers action.
I think that was the case, but I think they couldn't get to Inverell because of storms. And so then had to got halfway and then turned around.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
Nothing else?
That was all.
Thanks, Councillor Bishop.
I just got a request. General Manager, I actually requested Carmen, but a copy of the management plan for the TLC, is there?
Would you like a copy?
Yes, please. Well, a couple of people from 2020, yeah, I want to have a
Did we have that? Didn't we?
Carmen sent it to Rick on request, but we can get it to you and you can circulate it as you.
Winter Council. Yeah, Winter Council.
Oh, yes,
Yeah,
it's been to
it's been to council.
But we can send you a copy.
how long ago?
In June, yeah, it's the June.
June meeting.
Oh, well, I can dig
Before
it up.
Max leave. I'll get it to you. It's not.
Anything else?
No, just a big thank you from Mr. Wade for council actioning the road, the bottom of what's that, South Bingra, where they graded the road and tied it up down to the river. He and Richie were very excited about that. You, Alex?
Just going to smile and nod, Councillor Bishop.
That's that road.
Down near the golf course there.
No, down the southern end, that road that runs down to the Halls Creek. They graded it, not graded.
Oh, right.
Would that road be called later?
Leave that with me.
That's all. Thank you.
Councillor Bishop, Councillor Christian.
First of all, thank you to the council for the opportunity to go to the New South Wales local government annual conference. A lot of people there, a lot of experience. It's good to see other councils, what their concerns were and talk to them about some of ours, just sharing some ideas. So thanks for that opportunity and thank you for the people that came along. Awesome company. Just would like to recognise and congratulate Laura Walton from Bingra, who had been invited to do some soccer stuff in Japan next year.
That was pretty
It's an
amazing.
amazing thing for a person in our Shire to be invited to. It's big effort, so congratulations to her.
She's only very young. How old?
So you're off the top of my head, but she's pretty about 10.
Yeah, very young.
How do you spell her name?
Tora.
Torah, Walton.
Thank you.
Congratulations to all the year 12 students who finished in the Shire. Bit nerve-wracking waiting for results, but you got there. And just to request next time the jet catcher is in town, and I was in town yesterday, but Gwydir Street has up again every time it rains, it seems that.
It will be 10 to 2.
Thanks. You. Councillor Collins.
Consideration of feasibility study of relocating our charging station into our new green space. It's behind the
EV charging station.
Yeah, the EV charger. It's just, I think it looks better up there under lights and where it is now is a bit dodgy, I think. It's probably looks better up there and reflects our progress to the Shire if we put it wherever I can see it. Don't know how clear it would be, if it's worth filling, but worth looking at.
We'll get an answer for you.
The opening or the naming of the facility at Nicholson Oval was a great morning. The other morning, I think that was really a tear jerker watching that old gentleman down there. And I think Courtney Boothmore did an amazing job, so I'd like to acknowledge that within our minutes. She obviously goes above and beyond to make everything work smoothly, and which was great. Had a grader driver or someone that works with the graders come and see me. I know they probably shouldn't have come to me, but it was in a social situation.
You're selling 6 tyres?
It was in a social environment, so they weren't seeing me as But they're interested in the consideration of getting Skylink into the 6th graders. They think it's an important safety need,
Yes.
and they think it's an important communication need.
That's actually underway, and it will serve 2 purposes. One is there's a new fleet management software that we are looking at rolling out, which currently is in our graders, but it's not in a lot of other plant that doesn't have offline capability. We don't have mobile service in most of our Shire, as you know. If we have the Starlink in each of our graders, then if somebody's doing their pre-start check in a roller of the morning, they can be next to a grader and pick up the internet from that. So that's a certainty that will be happening.
Like you said, it saved a lot of time. And it's safer. Mining exploration licenses, Justin, thank you for your help with that, and Leah, but I know it's beyond our control and we can't do anything, but had not quite a few, that's exaggerating, 3 landholders contact me with concern over that, but what you've given me helped. So anyone that's not aware, there's a massive exploration license put over a massive area of Shire on the top end. So, and there was a tiny little ad in a paper about it. That's all there was. I don't know if you want to say more about that. You might know more about it than I do, but it's just what you sent me was very useful in regards to talking to them.
I want to say, no, I don't know anymore. It's just that was what I gave you there, had the avenues for them to be able to find out more information. It is only an exploration license and they have to have landholder agreements. So
It's
they
gold
can't
red
do
minerals,
anything.
so
Yeah.
it's the big key things.
They're doing one just south of Bingham too, aren't they? There's a couple of properties there.
There was one in the southern wards covered up. I remember that.
And a few people asked me this morning, actually, if we're in the position to send the truck around once we've cleaned up our own bits and pieces for people with rubbish after this big storm. If we have a curbside type thing, a lot of people are going to have a lot of green waste, particularly older people, that they're not going to be able to take the tip.
We should be able to arrange that. We'll have to, the difficulty in doing that will be getting the word out, especially if it is old people who aren't going to be on social media. It would be likely something that we might, push to next Friday to give people ample time to get things to the curbside, perhaps.
Yeah.
And we could just run a couple of trucks for the day.
Whatever else we might get it around. People start putting stuff on the side of the road, they'll realise.
We could also do a letter drop in that period of time.
Yeah.
That'd be effective.
Bring out your desk that I've called them.
Anyway, the last one, which might be a little bit controversial, but I'm prepared to bring it up, is our Christmas tree in our green space. I know we don't own the Christmas tree, but Chamber of Commerce own the Christmas tree. There's a bit of a story going around that it's going to be situated in front of the police station again. And the feedback from the people that I had spoken to would prefer to see it in the green space. Going forward, maybe allocating budgets in the next couple of years to buy our own tree, so we can put our own tree in the green space. Apart from that, if they're not prepared to put it in the green space, we do a bit of a bush theme and put up those wooden pallet trees or something like that, pending insurances and whatever else. I don't know if the men's shed or even our own carpenters will be able to make a few little pallet trees, if you know what I'm referring to.
I located 4 of them this morning and purchased them, and we're also going to get some lights and make it a Christmassy theme, and it'll be ready for the carnival.
I guess thinking, look, it wouldn't be a good reflection on us if there was nothing Christmas in the
Agreed.
green
Totally
space.
agree. So we'll start off small this year and then build on it.
Yeah,
every year.
And I might reconsider putting the tree there when they see it. Because it would look pretty bright.
yeah, I just can't understand their way of thinking, but that's not. I went to one of their meetings. There's not a lot of people that go to them, but they've made a decision to keep it in the police station yard, which it's be better down in the green space, but everyone's got their own right to make their own decision. But if we can allocate or try to budget for a tree of our own within the next few years, that would be great.
Next year.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you, Councillor Collins. Councillor Crump.
I've just got a go Gwydir story, really. I ran into a Rory lady the other day who said that she and a group of friends are now coming to Bingra to donate all of their clothes and things that they no longer want to the op shop, simply because they heard that the op shop gives back to the community and invests back into the community group. So, yeah, just a bit of a go
Nice.
op shop. Yeah,
It's nice to hear.
it is.
Thanks.
Yes. Yeah.
Going back on to what Councillor Collins said with the plaque last Saturday, I think, and we spoke about that, the ones that were there, like you have negative things that sort of weigh you down sometimes, especially in the last couple of weeks. And you go to something like that, and Mr. Pillen had no idea that the plaque was there, and he came and he was standing in front of the plaque and didn't know it was there and was talking to me, and he had no idea. He thought he'd come to have morning tea with some friends, and he looked up, and just to see him chuffed, simple plaque on the wall, and, you know, I know there's probably controversy over you should have a plaque there, but it sort of made our day, didn't it? It sort of, Scott, he was just so humbled and so happy, and Courtney had done a lot of work, and it was, yeah, it made you think, oh, there's some people happy out there, which I know there's lots of happy people, but sort of at a time at the moment when, yeah, it was really lovely, and just doing something for somebody that is good. Nothing else? Okay, so we'll go into confidential meeting. Does anyone want a cup of tea or something before we go into confidential, or do you want to wait until after confidential?
I just thought in regards to that request for Warrior Elder, we should send it over to Cooltai to, I suppose, the North Star. They have lots of original houses up there.
Yeah.
Wherever the other villages.
I think it's pretty right across the Shire. Rail that starts down cleaning up everywhere at the moment. Does anyone want a cup of tea before we go into confidential, or we just go into confidential? Confidential? Yes. Okay, it is recommended that the council resolve into the committee of the whole with press and public excluded to allow consideration of this item as provided for under the section 10A of the Local Government Act 1993 on the grounds report contains personal matters concerning particular individuals other than councillors. Go to confidential. Sorry, Councillor Crispin and Councillor Bishop.
Madam Mayor and Council have some recommendations from the Committee of the Whole. For the first report, confidential organisation and community service report, taken that the report be received. The second report, 7.2, request for Howard Dixon Memorial. Officer recommendation that council develop a naming policy to provide a guideline for future naming requests, that once the naming policy is adopted, that it be used to determine the suitability of Mr. Linan's request. That's the end of business.
Thank you. So being no further business, I declare that the meeting is closed at 12 p.m.